man, this has been a crazy weekend so far for game reveals, and these 6 games stuck out to me specifically, and that's why I wanted to make a video talking about these. Now, for some clarity's sake, I have not seen the Xbox event as the time of this recording, and also the rumored Nintendo Direct hasn't also gone up, so I'm basically just going to be pulling from the State of Play and the Summer Games Fest, which did have some really great reveals, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to be talking about mostly those games, but if anything happens between the Xbox event and the Nintendo Direct, I will definitely make videos on that as well. But for now, I want to focus on these 6 games in particular. So let's kick it off, shall we, with number 6. So hey, before we actually start talking about the number 6 game, which is Marvel's Wolverine, I would like to put a disclaimer up here for anyone who is sensitive to blood and gore. I would highly recommend you probably skip this part of the video, only because of what was shown off at State of Play. There's a lot of blood and gore in the game, so if you're a little sensitive to that, I just highly recommend you jump into maybe the next game on the list, and I'll make sure to put timestamps in the description so you're aware of that, so you can jump to the next game. But also, just so you're aware, if that's a problem, the base game, to my knowledge, is going to have the ability to turn off the blood and gore, so you can play the game and enjoy it without having to worry about that. And again, this is because of people who are sensitive to the kind of things. I don't want you guys to feel sick or uneasy watching the video as I talk about this game. So if you do skip this, please enjoy the rest of the video. As for everyone else, let's jump right into Marvel's Wolverine, shall we? So like I stated before in the previous part, this game is bloody as hell, and obviously it should be because it's Wolverine and he is known for being a brutal monster, and I think Insomniac Games captured this pretty well. They gave us a 7-minute gameplay demonstration of Logan in action, and it was really freaking cool. One of my favorite parts you see in the game is when he's in his stealth mission. He's on the roof and there's a guy talking and he kicks the guy off, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But then the next thing you see is you have the ability to lunge at that person while you're in free fall, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so cool. But the combat just looks so like brutal to me, and I think that's really doing justice to Wolverine as a character. But some other things they talked about is the fact that the game is taking place in the shared universe with Spider-Man's Insomniac, but in this world, mutants aren't really known, so the X-Men don't even exist at this point, and Wolverine's technically part of a special task force that is designed to help save mutants. And what's cool about this is we get to see some other characters. I mean, we know about Mystique because she was shown in one of the first trailers, but we also get a look at Jean Grey and also Sabretooth. And I was like, you know what, now that I think about a Wolverine game, I thought it would have been weird if we didn't have Sabretooth in some way or form, but it seems like he's part of the same team as Wolverine, so I wonder if that means at some point in the game, is Wolverine and Sabretooth going to have a conflict with each other where they end up fighting each other? And I wonder if he might be the final boss, considering like there might be some, you know, baggage between the two of them, and that's how you finish the game. It's so interesting, and the trailer that you're seeing here with some of the gameplay footage, and hopefully I'm splicing it well, it looks really cinematic, and obviously they took a vertical slice of what they want you to do, and we haven't seen what it's going to look like when you're playing the game like without being in a heavy story focus, you know, linear fashion, and they actually let you run around the world. But they have also talked about that the game is not going to be open world or very open zone. They are catering it to a specific narrative heavy focus, and they've also made sure that all the side quests that are in the game also feed into the story as well. So it's very interesting that we're going to be taking a different approach obviously than to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man gets to web around all of New York, whereas Wolverine's actually going all over the place to save other mutants. And I wonder who else is going to run into besides Jean Grey, Mystique, and Sabretooth. And we also know that Omega Red is going to be in the game as a villain as well, but I think in the trailer it's also hinted that maybe Silver Samurai will also be a villain for him to fight when he's in Japan. And we obviously know that Sentinels are also going to be in the game as well, considering that the last trailer we saw the prototype Sentinels show up, but in this trailer we do get to see a lot more Sentinels show up. I don't know if they're human-sized Sentinels or if they're actually to scale, because in the trailer it looks kind of hard to determine if they are the giant Sentinels that we know of. But either way, this game has still got me interested. Seeing the gameplay really helped out, and honestly I think it's just an evolution of Spider-Man in just a different direction, so that's why I'm still excited about this game. We do know that it is coming out September 15th, and it's only coming out for PlayStation 5, and I'm pretty sure Sony has also stated, unfortunately, that they are no longer going to permit their single player focus games onto the PC, which is a very big blow for PC gamers. That kind of sucks, but if you do have a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation 5 Pro and you are looking forward to this game, I think it's going to be really amazing. I can easily see this selling on the same scale as Spider-Man, and I think they even said that if it does well, they're going to start their own like X-Men universe alongside the Spider-Man universe, which technically is ending in the 3rd game. I'm basically rambling at this point, but needless to say, I'm very excited for this game, so let me know what you guys think. So let's move on to number 5 then, shall we? So for the number 5 game, which is Stranger Than Heaven, which is actually one of the most anticipated games of next year, which I can confirm, we'll go into that a little later. But the only reason it's this low is because the trailer we got at the Summer Games Fest was pretty cool, but it didn't give us a whole lot of brand new information. We did get to see Makoto's cool new Yakuza tattoo, which is crazy because it's literally covering his entire back, and it looks like he's wearing like a black shirt on his skin, which really looks cool, and the design looks awesome in my personal opinion. The trailer did tell us about more cast members that are joining as well, 2 of which I know know one is the voice actor of Kiryu, so the main protagonist of the Yakuza series up until we get to Ichiban's games. His Japanese voice actor is going to be in the game playing not Kiryu but someone else. And then from my understanding, there's also going to be another famous VA in the Yakuza series, the Japanese version, is also going to be in the game with a new role that's not the character they normally play. So it's very cool to have them come in and maybe be like a little fan service to everyone and longtime fans of the Yakuza franchise. Also, fun fact, I did just finish Infinite Wealth, and that game was purely amazing. I dumped over 100 and I think 11 hours into the game, and I was just having so much fun with it. And I can't wait for Ichiban's next adventure if they're going to be RPGs like this. But the other thing that was interesting about this trailer was the fact that the last cast member they revealed in the trailer was Tupac Shakur. And if you guys don't know anything about Tupac, he unfortunately died all the way back in 1996. He was a well-known rapper in the early 90s. The fact that he's in the game threw everybody, because they were like, how are you going to get a man who has unfortunately been dead for almost 30 years to voice these characters? And apparently it's because Snoop Dogg, his son, are really close with the estate of Tupac Shakur, and they have agreed to let his likeness be in the game. Now, they haven't stated how he's going to be voiced or if he's going to have any voice roles, whatever, but RGG has confirmed that they are not using any AI generated voices, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm pretty sure that's what floored everybody, because I don't think anyone was expecting Tupac to show up in the RGG game, because it's like, what? He's been dead for like 3 decades. What's going on here? But it is pretty interesting, and I think a lot of people are pretty hyped about it. It threw me for a whirl, because I was like, wow, like, how are you going to voice him? Either way, we have to wait to see how the game's going to go, but that was some of the biggest crazy stuff that happened for this new trailer. I'm still hyped for the game, and we do have an official release date, like I said earlier in this. It is coming out January 15th, 2027. It's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC, and it's coming with 2 editions. You're getting the regular edition and the collector's edition, and if I remember correctly with the collector's edition, you're getting like a brand new outfit from Makoto. You're going to get 4 weapons, 4 posters, 4 singers, and you're going to get an electric camera. And I just remembered one other thing that they are adding in the collector's edition. You are going to get a vinyl cover of the Stranger Than Heaven theme song, which RGG Studios and Sega have still been cowards to not release that on any platforms, because it's such a great song and it gets you hyped for the game. And that's just my little rant about it. But if you do plan to pick up the collector's edition, just be aware that it's going to run you $129.99 here in the States. I don't know how that's going to translate to the rest of the world. But yeah, with all that, I'm still incredibly hyped for this game, and hopefully we get some more information as the year goes on up until its release in January. But I had a feeling the game was going to be January when they said winter. Either way, still one of my most anticipated games of next year, and I just can't wait to see any more on this game. But with all that out of the way, let's move on to the number 4 game, shall we? So the game at number 4 is a game I've been really looking forward to, and it's part of a long-running franchise from Capcom, and I'm pretty sure you guys can kind of guess at this point what it is, especially if you're seeing the trailer. But it is Onimusha Way of the Sword. And what was really cool about this is that it showed up during the State of Play, and it showed up right after the Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remaster announcement that came out in the same thing. So I just had back-to-back hype for that. And obviously I talked a little bit about this game in that video, which should hopefully have gone up before this one. But anyway, we're here to talk about Onimusha this time. And what's really cool about this is we got the brand new trailer, and the brand new trailer shows us some brand new enemies, a new boss character, and it's a lot more cinematic as well, because we also get the reveal of his Oni form, which is a big staple from my understanding of the Onimusha franchise, is usually around the end game, I believe, or in some of them you get access to it throughout. It's basically the equivalent of like a Devil Trigger mode, where I think your character hits harder and has more defense. So I'm very curious to see how much that's going to change the combat of the game when you get access to that, and also what the restrictions going to be. But it looks really awesome. I'm really hyped for this game. And then another surprise that came with it was that they also shadow dropped a demo for the game, so you can go on to PlayStation, Xbox, and I think PC and actually try the game out for yourself, which I did. And honestly, I found the game really entertaining, and the reason for that is because I didn't go in expecting Souls-like combat, which I'm not a big fan of, but I also didn't go in expecting like Devil May Cry levels of combat, you know? I was in there like, you know what, I want to see what Onimusha is. I want to see what makes it different, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. Now obviously if you go in with the mentality that it plays a certain way, you are going to be let down a little, because you shouldn't look at Onimusha like it's Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. It's not a super flashy combo heavy action game. I would say it's more methodical and rewards patience and actually understanding enemy behavior, which is really cool because they do give you a lot of defensive mechanics. And I know people have complained about that, but honestly, when you pull off a dodge and go into a slash, or when you pull off consistent parries that actually break the enemy and leads them up to Isins, and you can chain a bunch of those literally back to back, it is a really satisfying feeling. And I was not bored at all with the demo, and I liked everything I was seeing. And I know people also were complaining that the enemies weren't as aggressive, but I'm like, I don't know, I kind of like liked it because it made me feel like when I was in the fight, I had to make these decisions and I had to be aware of what I was looking at, and I had to use the right defensive maneuver to counter that. And obviously you can also still attack. You have a light and a heavy attack options, and obviously you can still hit the enemies with that, but the game really rewards you when you take your defensive options and you are able to use that to stop the enemy in their momentum and get the free kills that come with that. And it really is just a satisfying feeling when you read the enemy so well. You set them up in a way that you can kill them all with basically a chained Lee Sin, and it is just so awesome and rewarding in my personal opinion. And the biggest highlight of the demo was fighting the boss, Sasaki Ganryu, because he literally takes everything what people were talking about and kind of just multiplies that. He's more aggressive than the fodder you're going to fight, and his attacks are a lot more erratic, and at a certain point in the fight where you get him down to below half health, he starts changing up his attacks and adding like a grab, which is a little hard to break in my personal opinion. I wasn't breaking them successfully, but I found him a rewarding challenge, and there are some people who can literally beat him damagelessly in like 2 minutes or less. Obviously that's just the demo, this isn't the full game, but again, even if it was, I was completely satisfied with my time with the demo. So if this was an impromptu review of it, I would say the demo won me over to this game even more than I was already anticipating. And this is just like the beginning of the game. Like, this doesn't have you having access to other tools that you will have by the end of the game, obviously. And I'm just gushing right now because I honestly really did enjoy the demo, and I kept fighting Ganryu so much that I tried other mechanics. Like, I tried to dodge a lot more, which is a lot tighter. I tried to do less blocking. I tried to be a little more aggressive, and it was just fun to experiment with that. So I'm kind of hoping in the base game they will give you some kind of boss rush mode where you can just fight the bosses over and over again to learn their patterns and then be able to systematically destroy them. But that's just me. I'm not even a big fan of boss rush modes like they have in Devil May Cry. I just find them annoying, but something about this feels like it's going to be really cool. But like I said, you got to go into this game expecting it to be slower, more methodical, and just embrace that. And I think you're going to have a really good time with the game and the demo. But I'm sorry about gushing so much, but I really did enjoy my time with the demo, and I am fully convinced that when this game releases on September 25th, 2026, which the leaks we're all talking about, and it is coming on to the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC, I think we are all going to have a really great time with this game. And honestly, I can't stop singing its praises more. That's going to do it for me. Let's move on to the number 3 game, shall we? All right, everyone, we've made it to the top 3 now. So the next game on this list was a complete left field announcement because I don't think anyone was expecting this game at all, to my knowledge. Like, I don't think anyone had this on a bingo card. And the game we're talking about is Gundam Rogue Orbit, a brand new high action game from Bandai Namco. And honestly, it looks amazing in my personal opinion because I was like, what is this? Where is this coming from? Like, I didn't know it was Gundam related until we saw the mobile suit itself. And even then I had to get a good look at its face to be like, wait, is that a Gundam? And I was like, holy shit, it's a Gundam. And if you guys don't know anything about me other than like what I talk about on this channel, I'm a huge Gundam fan. It is one of my favorite mecha franchises of all time, and I get so giddy when I see anything Gundam related, especially if it's a game, because I'm like, oh my god, one of my favorite mecha franchises is putting out a game, which is really cool about this because I think Gundam would always lend itself well to an action game because obviously Gundams are highly mobile units and they are literally walking arsenals of death. And this one, Gundam Helix, I believe it's called, is no different from my personal opinion because like you look at this thing, obviously it's got its, I think that's not a beam rifle, I think it's more of an assault rifle. It also has funnels, which is really amazing because I'm like, wow, we're giving it funnels too. But I think the best thing I like about what I saw is this thing has a giant fucking sword and it looks like it's its main melee weapon, not beam sabers, of giant metal sword, which sole purpose is just to give a giant fuck you to whatever it's fighting. And it looks so awesome. And we're also fighting monsters. Like, this is crazy. How cool is this? You are literally piling a Gundam with a big ass sword and your whole purpose is to go out and destroy monsters and save humanity. I was like, oh my god, I was so hyped about this because I was like, again, I'm a huge Gundam fan, and some of the fights you see in the animes, you would be like, wow, how cool would it be to actually be able to play like that in a game? And it feels like that's what this game is going for, is that you will be able to not recreate but feel what it's like to pilot a Gundam in those high action moments, obviously without being in the cockpit. We're not going that crazy, but I think this looks amazing. And honestly, the Gundam design looks really cool in my personal opinion. We just have to see where this is going to go. I don't even know if this thing has beam sabers. Like, I'd have to take a look at this, but I don't think we saw anything of the beam saber. And I wonder, since the sword looks like it's going to be its main source of melee combat, are all weapons in this universe not beam related? But that can't be the case because we have funnels, which are obviously shooting out beams, but the main weapon he's using doesn't look like a beam rifle. It also looks like a standard like assault rifle gun. And again, with the sword not being like a beam saber, being more of a giant metal sword, it's so interesting. And oh, there's so many things I can theorize about, but that's just using my like base knowledge of Gundam. That's not even like expecting what this universe is going to be different from other Gundam universes. Oh, this is so cool. It's so much fun to just theorize about like what's going to go on in this Gundam universe. And the fact that it seems like you're not fighting people, you're fighting monsters, aliens that are coming to destroy humanity. That's so cool. Like, who doesn't love the idea of jumping into a Gundam and just fighting giant monsters? Like, that is such a cool concept in my personal opinion. I'm so hyped for this. Like I said, I'm a huge Gundam fan, so this has really got me going. Other information we know about the game, other than besides that the Gundam is called Gundam Helix, we do know that the main character is called Rex. I'm gonna call him that because his name is RE-X, so I'm gonna read that as Rex until we actually hear proper pronunciation. But this announcement just came so out of left field and left me going like, oh my god, we are getting a brand new Gundam game, and it is going to be an action game, and it looks so cool. And I know I'm just gushing at this point because again, I'm a huge Gundam fan, but it's got me so excited. It's been a very long time since we had like a really dedicated action game set with Gundam as the main focus, and I think this is going to be really awesome. And they're also talking about how the story is going to be on the same caliber as a regular Gundam series show, so that's good. We're still going to have our war drama that Gundam is known for, but I think instead of it being like a human to human conflict, it might be a human to alien conflict, or who knows, maybe the aliens are actually in cahoots with other humans and it does turn into a human to human conflict. And we also don't know if the Gundam Helix is going to be the final Gundam, because most Gundams also tend to get a upgrade about the midway point in their season. So for all we know, Helix is just the Gundam we start with, and then it could get an upgraded version by the end of the game, which is even more ridiculous. We don't even know if there's a high level of customability with this Gundam either. Just so many things we don't know, but so many possibilities, and I'm just running wild with that right now. And I'm sorry that I'm overexcited for this, but it's like, you have to understand, like, I really do love Gundam, and the fact that we get a Gundam action game and it looks like it's on the same level of like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta is so cool to me. And hopefully we'll hear more about it as the year goes on, because it is coming out next year in 2027, and it is coming to the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, and PC. Look forward to that, guys. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this game because, like I said, huge Gundam fan, really looking forward to this, and I just think it has the potential to be a really fun action game. And I got to move on to the next game, or I can geek about this for the next hour or anything, but let's move on to number 2, shall we? Oh, sorry about that, guys. Really got excited on that. I'm still looking forward to that Gundam game, but we're here talking about the number 2 pick, and this comes from a long-running fighting game franchise. Now, if you guys don't know this about me, also, I am a huge fighting game fan. I'm not very good at fighting games. I've never really been. I would consider myself at best maybe intermediate at most fighting games I get into, but there is just something intrinsically fun in my head about playing a fighting game, even if I'm not the best at it or even great at it. It's just something fun to play, in my opinion. Or that's why we're talking about the second game, which is Virtua Fighter Crossroads, which looks really amazing. It's being done by RGG Studios, so of Yakuza fame and Stranger Than Heaven, and you can tell that this game has got a budget behind it because it just looks amazing. And this will be my second time actually jumping into the Virtua Fighter world. My first Virtua Fighter experience is actually on Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. I got that a couple weeks ago. I've been playing it on and off, and I've been having a really fun time with it. My character right now is Aoi. I don't know, I just like her playstyle. It's pretty fun to me, and I do like how quick she is, but we're here to talk about Crossroads. And Crossroads is very interesting because it's not just being touted as a fighting game, they're also trying to include a very hefty single player mode. I don't know the name of it, I don't even think they've said it, but basically it's going to be almost like a second game in with the fighting game. And the single player mode is going to focus on the 4 new playable characters that they just showed off. Only 2 of them have names at this point though, that being Stella and Silo, and I apologize immensely if I butchered his pronunciation, but those are the only 2 that have their names revealed. The other 2 unfortunately haven't, but we do have all 4 of them together, and you'll basically be jumping off different paths for them. So that's very interesting, and the fact that they're also focusing on these 4 brand new characters and not actually any of the original roster members seems pretty interesting to me, and maybe that's a way to bring in new characters as well. But the story mode seems like it's going to be pretty meaty, and the fact that, you know, RGG Studios, which is known for making really great single player content, I have full faith in them story-wise that this is going to be pretty good. And the fact that it seems like the fighting is going to be tailored around the story mode as opposed to just the story mode tailored around the fights. So it's very interesting because when you look at the trailer, you can see that Cielo, again, I apologize if I butcher his name immensely, he's fighting more than one character at a time, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a beat 'em up. So it's very interesting to see how that's going to play out and to see how the other three main characters and their fighting styles are going to do as well. But you don't have to worry about just being single player only if you don't want to focus on that. You do also, of course, get the fighting game part of it, which they talked a little bit about the 1 versus 1. Now, I'm not someone who can go into great detail about the mechanics of Virtua Fighter because, like I said, I just started playing it recently and I'm trying to wrap my head around it as well. But basically, they want to make it clear to everyone that they're taking everything that made Virtua Fighter itself, so the realism along with like innovation, they're just taking that and evolving it to the next level. And from some of the gameplay I've seen of it, the combat looks smooth, like the animation looks buttery smooth. I don't think I've ever seen a 3D fighting game with so much good polished animation, and the game's not even close to releasing right now just because it's coming out in 2027 and we don't have a release date. But I would harbor to guess that the game's probably going to come out either in summer or fall of next year. But like I said, just some of the things we've seen looks really amazing, and the fact that they're talking about how they want to blend the action elements and the fighting elements into the game to make it its own unique experience, I think is a really good effort. And I'm really curious to see how this is going to go because, like I said, I'm not the best at fighting games myself and I just started Virtua Fighter, but looking at this has got me really excited for the game. I'm like, damn, this looks really good. And you can tell RGG is putting a lot of effort into this and honoring the legacy that is Virtua Fighter. And I hope that this brings in a lot of people like myself, like people who've never played the franchise before, go in and experience it. Even if you don't play the fighting game section, which I would recommend you do, because from the few matches I've played, like I said, of VA5, I've had a blast with how quick the game is. Like, it's even faster than Dead or Alive and Soul Calibur as well, which are two of my favorite 3D fighting game franchises of all time. And I kind of hope that RGG can stick this landing, because if they can give you one of the best fighting games of all time mixed with some of the best story of all time, I think this will be a generational defining fighting game, which maybe 3D fighters going forward will use that as a staple and be like, hey, Virtua Fighter did this and they did amazing. Let's see what we can do if we use the same kind of formula, or at least take some inspiration from that. But that's just me speculating on it. But I can tell you this, I am very excited for Virtua Fighter Crossroads when it does come out, and honestly, I hope you guys are interested too. But that's enough talking about my second most hype game from the shows. Let's go talk about my number 1 most hype game, and if you guys know me, I'm pretty sure you can guess what it is. And here we are, my number 1 most hype game from the event season. There were rumors I would show up at the game show. I didn't have high hopes, but when Jeff announced that we were going to get to the final battle, I instantly stood up and I was like, wait, is this what I think it is? And it was the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the final game in the Final Fantasy Remake trilogy. And honestly, I was so over the moon. Like, I was yelling, I was so hyped to see all this, because if you guys don't know, Final Fantasy VII holds a very special place in my heart. It's one of the JRPGs that I played when I was young. I fell in love with it, and it's always held that special place. I always consider it in my top 5 games of all time. Honestly, playing the remakes have been so much fun, getting to see all that, and also seeing some of the changes they've done with the story, because I'm so interested now to see, is this going to end the same way as the original game, or are we going to get technically a happier ending, which I really want for the characters. But seeing everything on screen, like getting to see Cid and Vincent in full play, and we actually get to see how they're going to play, Vincent being a gunslinger and being able to transform into the Galleon Beast at will, Cid basically going around styling on fools with his spear. Oh, it was so cool, and his playstyle was exactly what I was hoping for. We also get a good look at the Highwind gameplay, because now you actually get to fly around the world in the Highwind like they proposed. And also, if you want to leave the Highwind to go somewhere, you have to parachute off of it. It looks so awesome and seamless. We get a look at Wutai with Yuffie running around with Red 13 and Vincent. Looks so awesome. We get a look at the weapons. Oh my god, the weapons look so awesome. You get to see Omega, Sapphire, Ruby, and what's cool about Sapphire is it doesn't get its head blown off like in the original game. We actually get to see it launch its fire laser, and it's so fucking destructive. It's so cool, man. You get to see Meteor up in the sky now, because that's how the rest of the game is going to be after you fail to stop Sephiroth from getting the black material. Oh my god, I can't wait to see that scene. Oh my god. They didn't show off a lot of that stuff, but I'm so hyped about that. They showed us off more of the combat, which is just an involvement of the Rebirth combat system, because they just improved upon that. It looks so awesome. And then we also get the reveal of a pseudo class system for the game, something that never existed in the original Final Fantasy. And what it is, it's called Fits. From my understanding, every party member gets 4 classes that they get to choose from and augment abilities and skills from that, so you can break the mold. So originally, when you think of Tifa, she's usually the archetypical monk, but you can make her into a black mage Mage, where she'll still have the abilities of her martial class, but she'll just get added bonuses with black magic. And her outfit looks so cool. It looks so cool. And so does Cloud's outfit too. I think he's called a warrior because his first class is Freelancer, and it looks so awesome. And I think they even said like you might get abilities from those classes. So I wonder if that means if you get an ability, like if Tifa's in her black mage and you level that up or do something with that, can she take that ability to other classes as well so she can keep doing that? And this just opens up the door for so much more customization than we already had in the games. Like, this is crazy. You can tell they're putting so much effort into this final game, and honestly, I am here for it. I was here for when the remake was announced. I was so hyped about that. I was hyped about when the game came out. I was hyped about when Rebirth was announced and played. So obviously I'm going to be hyped about Revelations, and the fact that we're finally going to see the end of the trilogy gets me so hyped. Oh, and they even stated that Zack's going to have even more screen time than he had in Rebirth. That was such a cool thing, and I don't want to spoil anything for the end of Rebirth, but for the people who've played Rebirth and you get to that point in the game and you see what I'm talking about, it was just so fucking cool. Apologies for swearing, but it's like, I am so hyped for this game. Like, you don't understand. Like I said earlier, Final Fantasy VII holds a special place in my heart. It is one of my top favorite RPGs of all time. The OG was such a good game, and honestly, I've had a blast with the remake trilogy too. I know there's some issues, but I'll be dead honest with you guys. I loved Remake, I loved Rebirth, and Revelation is just gonna be the culmination of all of that. And it just seems like they're putting so much energy and passion and love into this, and this game is gonna be amazing. I can tell. I can just tell. And I know I'm getting really hyped for it, guys. I'm sorry, but you have to understand, my hype levels for this are through the roof. It is literally the meme, you know, it's over 9,000. And this was just a taste, because at the end of the show, they did give us the trailer, but they also gave us a big blowout. That's where all this information was coming from. No one thought we were going to get even more information. We literally thought we were going to get the trailer, and that was it. But no, they gave us so much for its grand reveal, and it's so awesome. And they also gave us the release window of the game. It's coming spring 2027. Now, obviously, that means anywhere from March to June. But what's really cool about that too is they made it very clear that it is launching day and date with all the consoles. So it's not just going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive and then a year later the other consoles are going to get it. No, they are releasing it for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, the PC, the Switch 2. It is going to be there day one for everyone, and it is so fucking exciting. I am so ecstatic. I can't wait to see how this all ends, because God, Rebirth, how that ended, so many possibilities where they can go with the story and how it's all gonna end. It just gets me so hyped. So hopefully you guys can understand why I am beyond the moon that we finally got the reveal of the name for the final game in the Final Fantasy trilogy. And guys, I'm gonna be there day freaking one. I cannot wait to see how this all ends. They have not let me down so far. I don't think they're gonna screw up the landing, because they understand just how important this series is to a lot of people. And it's just great that it seems like the team understands how much this means to us, the fans, and how much it also means to them. So that's why I'm fully confident this is gonna be a great game. I'm sorry guys, like I know I like to hype up games a lot, because that's just what I like to do. I like to talk about games with you guys, and I like to talk about games that I like and hopefully you guys would find interesting. And honestly, that's why I do this YouTube channel. So I thank you guys very much. For anyone who watches the video, anyone who leaves a comment, I'm very appreciative. Anyone who subscribes, I'm super grateful for any of that. Sorry about that, guys. Gotta bring myself down a little. I know I get a little too hyped and emotional about stuff, but I just really like getting hyped about games. Even if they don't live up to the full expectation, I think it's still fun to just talk about my favorite hobby with people and figure out why they're happy about games and why they're excited too. Honestly, that just makes it all the worthwhile to make these videos. But with all that out of the way, guys, that is the end of the video. I want to thank you very much for watching the video if you managed to make it this far. And please, in the comment sections, let me know what announcements got you really hyped. And obviously, like I said at the beginning of this video, this was all recorded before the Xbox event went up and also before the hopefully rumored Nintendo Direct happened. So any games from those announcements, please let me know what got you hyped about it. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm kind of a little spent right now, so I'm just gonna say my usual outro. So with that, I want to thank you very much, guys, for making it to this point in the video. I want you all to have a great day. I want you all to be safe out there, and remember, let's rock.